And it was blowing my mind. It was really blowing my mind because up until this point in my life, when I would have that sort of fear coming up or those beliefs coming up, I'd be like, all right, like write it down. You got to wait until next week in therapy to like process through that. For the first time, though, I had this tool that I could use to actually help my body process energetically what was going on. And it was really profound. I don't just teach you how to use tapping to heal and grow and expand. This is a practice that I use in my own life almost every day. And I have used it for so many things to help me in my own journey of healing and growing and expanding. So I want to share with you 5 ways that tapping has truly transformed my life. And really, I could share with you infinite stories, but we'll start with these 5. So when I first found tapping, I had just started my coaching business, and I would notice before I got on calls, I had a lot of fear coming up. I had a lot of beliefs and thoughts coming up that were making me feel incredibly nervous and scared about doing this work. Beliefs around not being worthy, about not being able or capable of supporting my clients in the ways that I wanted to. A lot of beliefs that didn't feel true, right? They were just those like harsh thoughts and beliefs that were not my truth, yet they were deeply impacting how I would feel when I would show up to work. Even though I feel these doubts and fears rising up, and even though I feel really insecure sometimes, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. So I started using tapping. Before almost every call, I would get ready like half an hour early, and I would move through my foundational tapping recipe. And at the end of this like 20 or 30 minutes, I would go from feeling like my stomach was in knots, feeling like I cannot get on this call, like this is going to go terribly wrong. I feel really crappy right now, like just mentally and emotionally. I have a lot of doubt coming up, and it's not nice. To feeling so calm in my body and feeling not only confident, but like, oh, like so excited to get to show up and support these humans. It feels so different. It feels so much better. It feels so much better. And it was blowing my mind. It was really blowing my mind because up until this point in my life, when I would have that sort of fear coming up or those beliefs coming up, I'd be like, all right, like write it down. You got to wait until next week in therapy to like process through that. For the first time, though, I had this tool that I could use to actually help my body process energetically what was going on. And it was really profound. Tapping has also been incredibly healing and transformative for my anxiety. Do I still experience anxiety? Yes, I do. Welcome to my human experience. However, the way that I can support myself when I am feeling anxious is so different today than 3-4 years ago because I have tapping to use. And it's funny because there was this one day a couple months ago when I was having a lot of anxiety. Oh my God, my anxiety is so high. Like that feeling where I'm teetering on the edge, like if something uncomfortable happened, I could almost have a panic attack. Like that's how high it feels right now. And I wasn't really sure why. You know, sometimes when you have a lot of anxiety, you know what the trigger was. But on this day, I wasn't sure what had triggered the anxiety. But it was pretty debilitating. It was really difficult for me to even get work done. So for some reason, I didn't think to tap right away. Instead, I was like, I'm going to lay down and meditate. I love laying down and meditating. It is so juicy for me. So I laid down to meditate, and it was impossible. It felt impossible for my mind and my body to calm and slow down enough through meditation. And finally I was like, this is not working. What am I doing? I need to tap through this. So I got up, I came back to my desk right here, and I started tapping through it. It's safe for me to notice all of this. And it's safe for me to release this tightness, this anxiety from my body. And within a couple minutes, I just felt like what I call the anxiety, it's like a whirlpool for me. I felt it begin to slow, and I felt my heart begin to slow and settle and open, and I felt my body begin to calm. And it was, wow. I feel so much better. It's amazing how much better you can feel in just a few minutes. Every time I think about how tapping has really been so transformative for me in so many ways, especially around anxiety, I feel emotional because I remember Lauren, when was that, like 6 or 7 years ago, when my anxiety was really at its peak, and I didn't have tools like this to use. And I remember that feeling of like feeling out of control, feeling like my anxiety was out of control. And it just, I feel so grateful to have tapping, because I know that I can use it, and I can use it anywhere, right? Like if I'm feeling anxiety in the car or on a plane or wherever I may be, I will tap. I don't care now. You know, it used to bother me, or like in the early days, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like what are people gonna think? Like I just tap now. Because I'm like, oh, the best thing that could happen is they're like, what are you doing? And I get to share this practice with them. So yeah, tapping has just been such a gift for me with anxiety. This one is a fun one because it really shook me that tapping worked for this. Here's the thing. I have been tapping for over 2 years now. I have shared it with so many clients, one-on-one, in groups, all around the world. And yet it still surprises me. And I love that because I still find myself amazed by how powerful this practice is. So I have been scared of shots, and I would say even more so than scared of shots, like for 10, 15 years now, every time I got a shot, I would nearly pass out. I would let them know, like, you got to let me lay down, because I would feel like I was going to black out. I would feel lightheaded. I would feel nauseous. I couldn't drive. If I had to go get a shot, I either had to like lay there for 15 to 20 minutes after getting the shot before leaving, or I would need someone to drive me there. I just did not do well with needles going in my body. So finally I was like, I had a shot coming up, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to use tapping and see how it helps. So the first time I tapped as I was getting the shot, and in the 5 to 10 minutes after getting the shot. And it helped. I was surprised. I was like, wow, that made it a lot more bearable. I was able to walk immediately after getting the shot. And again, for 10 or 15 years, I haven't done that. I'd be like, you need to let me sit here, or if I get up, I'm going to pass out or black out. And yeah, I still felt the impact of it on my body. I still felt a little nauseous. I still felt a little lightheaded, but not to the extent that I had in the past. And then I went back for another shot, and I was like, you know what? Rather than waiting and just tapping while I'm getting the shot, I am going to tap before I even leave the house. And like, let's see how that works. So I slowed down. And I closed my eyes and I imagined, like, okay, in that moment, what happens? What am I physically feeling in my body? What am I thinking? What is my mind thinking as I get the shot and as I feel like I'm going to pass out afterwards? And I tapped through that for like 5 to 10 minutes. And at first, when I started tapping on it, it was like, ooh, like, I don't like talking about this. Like, it's triggering me. And then by the time I was done tapping, I was like, oh, wow, okay. I can say these things out loud and it feels good. Like, I can say needle going in my arm and not feel like I'm gonna like throw up everywhere. So we'll see how it goes. I went and I got the shot, and immediately after, one of the things I tapped on was, it is safe for this needle to go in my arm. And it's interesting because I didn't consciously go, oh, Lauren, remember to say that to yourself as you're getting the shot. But in the very moment as I was getting the shot, that thought came to me, it is safe. This needle to go in my arm. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, that was interesting to notice. And then right after, I stood up and I started walking. And it was like, I was like waiting to feel all of these feelings. I was waiting to feel nauseous. I was waiting to feel lightheaded. And there was nothing. I didn't feel a thing. I felt totally normal, right? My body felt calm. It felt present. I didn't feel nauseous. I didn't feel lightheaded. And I remember I kept walking, like waiting for it to happen. Like, wait, how is this not happening? And nothing. It was the most incredible experience because it was the first time I'd used tapping for something really physical like that, and something that, like, I had over a decade worth of experience in my life, knowing like this is how my body responds. And then to see it shift so drastically was so incredible. And what's interesting is, not too long after, I started going to acupuncture, and like, it's different. It's not like a big needle, like when you're getting a shot, they're these tiny needles. Still, though, that is something that really would have triggered me in the past. And I've had acupuncture lots of times now, and I don't even think about the needle and it being a needle going in my body. Pretty incredible. Tapping has also transformed my connection with my intuition. I believe that our connection with our intuition and our soul is our most natural way of being. And so I believe that as we tap through and heal different fears and beliefs and different physical, mental, or emotional challenges, we naturally come more into alignment with our intuition, which I believe has happened for me. And I have also used tapping proactively when I'm desiring to tune into my intuition. I use it to calm and slow my body and my mind so that I can open up to the guidance that is flowing through. I've been consciously and intentionally cultivating this connection with my intuition for 7+ years now. And in the last year and a half, 2 years since I've been using tapping regularly, it's completely transformed. I feel so much more confident in that knowing. I feel so much more confident in myself. I know that no matter what, no matter when, I can tune in. Even when my mind feels so cluttered and chaotic, I know that I can use tapping to tune in. And yeah, it has just been the greatest gift in that part of my life as well. This one is the most recent thing that I have used tapping for, and I will be forever grateful. Going skydiving for the first time has changed my life in a short period of time. So I can only imagine when I'm several months out from this experience, how it will have impacted me. In the weeks leading up to going skydiving, though, I had a lot of fear coming up for me. Oh, I'm terrified of dying while skydiving. I don't even like saying that out loud. I remember the very night we booked tickets, I felt my body shift into fight or flight. I felt like I was going to have a panic attack. I feel this tight constriction in my chest space. like this pressure, something is constricting around my heart, making it hard to breathe. So I started using tapping in the weeks leading up to going skydiving. And it helped me really process those fears. It helped me process a lot of grief that was coming up around this experience. Because I love this so much. Intuitively, I knew that this was an experience I was ready to have. Again, this is where I'm so grateful for this connection with my soul, my intuition, and my guides, because I was able to tune in and go, yes, Lauren, this is the right time and this is the right experience for you to have. So all of these fears and all of this stuff that's coming up for you, it's coming up for you to process. It's not coming up because it's your sign to not do this. I knew that so clearly. So I knew, cool, I'm going to tap through this. I'm going to use tapping to help me process this. And in the day leading up to going skydiving, again, so much emotion and fear was coming up that I tapped through and processed. And it was so scary, which I can't imagine a world where you jump out of an airplane from 13,000 feet above the earth for the first time and like don't feel any fear. At least not in my world. However, while I felt so scared getting ready to jump out of that airplane, I didn't really jump, it was more like being pushed out of the airplane. Semantics, words matter, right? I felt fully present in my body, which is what I wanted. I wanted to like be there. You know, I didn't want to feel like I was leaving my body because I was so scared, which I know that feeling as well. Like when fear becomes so overwhelming and we just disconnect. And I felt everything. Like I felt everything. I was just so present, even though I was terrified. So yeah, and I truly believe that tapping leading up to skydiving allowed me to process so much fear that was coming up, that really enabled me to have the experience I've had since skydiving that has just been so transformative and so life-changing. Just whoa. To be able to process fear in that way, this fear that feels so overwhelming, and to be able to process grief, and to have a tool like tapping that allows me to feel these feelings so deeply so that I can process them, which I believe that's where the growth that we desire lies. It's not in avoiding the feelings or pushing them down or ignoring them. I believe it's in fully feeling them and experiencing them so that we can process and release that energy and emotion. It was just such a gift. And then skydiving, such a gift. So all of this to say, if you are new to the magic of tapping, welcome. If you have been tapping for a while now and you're like, yes, I know this magic, I see you. This practice is truly so transformative and it's incredible because you can use tapping to support yourself with your own healing and growth and expansion on a physical level, whether it's calming fears and phobias, releasing beliefs and habits and patterns that are no longer serving you, or healing mentally, emotionally, physically. And you can also use it to support yourself on the non-physical or the unseen, the spiritual level, and connecting with your soul, your guides, your intuition, manifesting, attuning to source energy for healing. And it's just really so, so incredible. If you can't tell, I teach it and share it with all of you because I love it, because it has changed my life and continues to transform my life. I really teach what I preach, and I preach what I use in my own life. So welcome to the magic. Be sure to like and follow along for more tapping videos. I'm so happy that you're here.